When do you take off? When do you go?
This weekend.
This weekend?
Down to Rio. Yeah.
Down to Rio?
It's funny. I mean, it's been looming for a long time, preparing for it, as we all have at NBC. And then I woke up yesterday and I thought, a month from today, I'll be home. It'll all be over. It'll all be over in Denver. I'm going, wait a minute. We haven't even gotten there yet. It just shows you how fast life goes by.
So now, do you have an advanced team to check on your accommodations? Al Michaels' advanced team.
I have this reputation. The whole thing. Believe me, it's all good. Everything is good. You know, I once wrote 4 seasons or bust in a column, and I got busted for it. I mean, excuse me. But
well, you do rate certain establishments on the number of seasons that it would equate to the 4.
Occasionally,
correct?
You're in a hotel which is like a 3 seasons, which isn't bad. And once in a while, you'll be in a hotel that's like a quarter of 1 season, and that's not very good. That's like the when the Bears were playing in Champaign for a couple of years while they were redoing Soldier Field. We wound up at someplace,
some establishment,
and they had to back me in. Our production assistant at that time, Vinny Rayo, had to blindfold me and then kind of back me into the front desk, very much the way a balky horse would have to
kicking?
Put into the gate. Well, in the Kentucky Derby or something, you'd back him, and he doesn't want to see what the gate looks like. So, and they got me to my room, but I survived.
So, what does the research for you require? I mean, because you're obviously locked in on so many sports throughout the year. I mean, so for you, what does it require?
Well, in Rio,
and
this is the 4th time I've done this role. I did it in Vancouver, London, along with Dan Patrick, and in Sochi. With Dan and Rebecca Lowe. So you're basically transitioning in and out. I'm kind of providing the glue between events. So I might come on the air and we'll go to, let's say, beach volleyball, but then we may want to go to track and field. So I'm pretty much the conduit between events, maybe lend a little insight into the event beforehand. But it's up to the venue announcers, who are damn good. I mean, Dan Hicks does a fantastic job swimming, and Tom Hammond in track and field. I mean, they've got the nuts and bolts for you. I can maybe give a little bit of an overview, bring them in, maybe ask a couple of questions, do some interviews in the studio, which I really enjoy. I got to meet, I'd never known Serena Williams until I got to interview her in London. That was kind of cool after she'd won the gold medal. Brought Alex Morgan and some of the U.S. soccer women's team players in. So I like that. It's the one thing in my career, since I've done so much play-by-play for the most part, I haven't had a chance to do that much interviewing. So for me, that's the most fun for me, I think, in a situation like this.
Now, I know the answer to it, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. How have things changed since the Olympic Village, say, in Lake Placid, when you were there, back in the day,
right.
when this truly was an amateur competition for most countries? How have things changed between then and
It's like
and
everything's changed. I mean, it's the way sports are covered. It's the way of the world. In Lake Placid, it was a little town in upstate New York, so there was security. And now, of course, it's over the top, and it has to be, but it's not just in the Olympics. It's everywhere you go in the world these days. Everything is on camera. There's a police presence. I'm sure in Rio it'll almost be kabuki theater, but it almost has to be in a way. You began to see this, I guess, maybe in Yugoslavia in 1984, did the Olympics in Sarajevo. At that time, the country was in one piece and seemed to be on their way to better times. And then 10 years later, that country split apart violently, and it became a whole bunch of other countries, Bosnia, Serbia, and the rest. So it's the way of the world right now. And I think it's a good thing that the Olympics were opened up to everybody. I mean, what was an amateur? What was a pro when the Eastern Bloc, they had professional athletes in there, and that's why the hockey thing in 1980 was so big, because we were truly an amateur team and they were truly a professional team. But I think now you're seeing the best athletes in the world. What happens too, Rich, is I think the big thing is there's always this fear going into an Olympic Games, and there is this time around. Sewage, traffic, security, infrastructure, whatever. It's always been that way. This is the 9th Olympics I've covered. There isn't one where everybody hasn't said, or at least the press would indicate to you, oh my God, what a disaster this is going to be. Go back to LA in 1984, did that too, did the track and field here in 84. What's going to happen? Smog, we had none. Traffic, never saw it better than that, right? Heat, whatever it was. Terrorism, thank God, didn't happen. So all the stuff that they warn you about and make you scared about, fortunately to this point has not happened. I mean, to any large degree. Obviously, Munich took place in 1972, a completely different situation. And the bomb that went off in Atlanta in 1996. Apart from that, I think we've been pretty lucky.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.